from minutes to milestones. It's easy to overlook the value of a single minute, isn't it? A minute seems so small, so fleeting. You might be thinking, what can I really do in just 60 seconds? But here's the truth. Those minutes, the ones that feel insignificant in the moment, are actually the building blocks of something much greater. They're the foundation upon which our dreams, our careers, our futures are built. When we talk about success, we often envision big moments, those high points where everything comes together. But what we often forget is that success doesn't happen in an instant. It's not a single grand event. It's the culmination of countless small actions over time. Every milestone in our lives, every achievement, every goal reached started in the same way, with just a minute. Today, I want to dive deep into how these fleeting moments can be transformed into milestones that matter. How can we make the most out of every minute? How can the small things we do, day in and day out, add up to something extraordinary? Because let's face it, it's easy to get discouraged when we're working towards something big, and it feels like we're not getting anywhere. But trust me, those minutes are more powerful than you realize. They hold the key to unlocking your dreams. Today, we'll talk about how you can harness the power of time, 1 minute at a time, to create the milestones that define your life. Let's begin by focusing on the concept of small moments. A single minute doesn't feel like much, right? It's easy to think that a few minutes here and there don't add up to anything significant. But that's where the power lies. Small actions, repeated consistently over time, lead to big results. Think about this. We have 1,440 minutes in a day. That's 1,440 opportunities to take a step forward. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, what difference can a few minutes really make? But here's the truth. Those moments can be transformational if we use them with intention. For instance, if you decide to dedicate just 10 minutes of your day to learning something new or working on a passion project, those 10 minutes will eventually accumulate. Over time, those 10 minutes will turn into hours, and those hours into days. Every single minute, no matter how small, has the potential to change the trajectory of your life. I want you to think about what you're doing with your time right now. What are you doing with the 1,440 minutes you're given today? Are you spending it on things that align with your long-term goals? Or are you letting moments slip away, thinking they don't matter? The reality is, every minute you invest in your growth, whether it's reading, exercising, working, or even reflecting, adds up. Every minute is a piece of the puzzle that leads to your milestones. Imagine, for a moment, if you consciously made a decision to use even 10 minutes of your day more effectively. What would happen if you started using your moments more wisely? It's the small, intentional actions that pave the way for larger achievements. You just have to trust that those minutes are working for you, even when you don't see the results right away. This brings us to a powerful principle called the compound effect. The compound effect is the idea that small, consistent actions, no matter how insignificant they may seem, add up over time and lead to massive, often life-changing results. It's easy to dismiss tiny actions, but those seemingly insignificant efforts are what create real progress. Let's break it down with an example. If you decide to wake up just 30 minutes earlier every day to work on a skill or goal, those 30 minutes add up quickly. In a week, that's 3.5 hours of focused effort. In a month, that's 15 hours. In a year, that's a staggering 180 hours. Over 7 full days of time invested in your development or pursuit of success. Think about it. What could you accomplish with 180 hours of dedicated effort? What could you learn, build, or achieve? The beauty of the compound effect is that you don't need to make huge, drastic changes to see results. In fact, the biggest transformations often come from the smallest, consistent actions. It's about creating habits that serve you, even if those habits seem too small to make a difference at first. For instance, if you're looking to get in shape, starting with 10 minutes of exercise every day doesn't sound like much. But over time, it builds into a lifestyle change. You get stronger, healthier, and more confident without needing to overhaul your entire routine. On the flip side, the compound effect can also work against you if you're not careful. A few minutes of procrastination here and there, skipping a task, or giving into distractions, they may not seem like a big deal at the moment, but they add up over time. And before you know it, you've lost precious minutes that could have been invested in something productive. But the good news is, just like with positive habits, you can always make a change. It's never too late to stop wasting minutes and start using them wisely. The next key ingredient in this process is consistency. It's easy to get motivated to work towards a goal when we're inspired, but the real magic happens when we show up consistently, even on the days when we don't feel like it. Think about any successful person you admire. They didn't get where they are by working hard only on the days they felt motivated. They did it by showing up day in and day out, no matter how small the action was. Success doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require big, bold actions all the time. It simply requires consistency. If you write 1 page a day, you'll have written an entire book by the end of the year. If you exercise for just 15 minutes every day, you'll see significant changes in your body and mind after a few months. If you spend just 5 minutes each day meditating, you'll cultivate a sense of calm and focus that will impact every area of your life. Consistency is about making a commitment to yourself. It's about building momentum, even when the progress doesn't seem immediate. It's about making small progress every single day and trusting that the sum of all your efforts will lead to significant results. The beautiful part of consistency is that it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. All you have to do is show up, do something, even if it's small, every day. That's how you move closer to your milestones. Think about a time when you were consistent with something, whether it was exercising, learning, or working on a project. In the beginning, it may have felt like you weren't seeing results, but after a while, things started to click. Progress became visible, and that small action compounded into a bigger achievement. It's the same with every goal, no matter how big or small. Consistency will carry you further than motivation ever will. Once you've got consistency in place, you'll begin to experience momentum. Momentum is incredibly powerful because once you've gained it, it's hard to stop. Think about a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it picks up speed, it grows exponentially. That's what momentum does for you. It accelerates your progress and helps you push through the difficult times. At first, making progress may feel slow. You may feel like you're pushing against resistance, and the finish line is nowhere in sight. But as you continue taking small, consistent actions, the momentum builds. You start to notice that things are becoming easier. Opportunities begin to align with your efforts. The challenges you once saw as obstacles now seem more like hurdles you can jump over. Momentum has this beautiful way of carrying us through the tough days, the moments when we want to quit. Because when you've been consistent for long enough, you're no longer relying on willpower alone. Your efforts have created a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes a driving force. Momentum becomes your ally, and with it, nothing feels impossible. This is the moment when you start to see how far you've come. The goal that once seemed distant now feels achievable. You've built enough momentum to carry you over the finish line. And the best part? Once you've experienced the power of momentum, you'll know how to create again and again every time you need it. Once you've got consistency in place, you'll begin to experience something truly transformative. Momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces you can harness in your journey toward success, because once it's in motion, it becomes very difficult to stop. Imagine pushing a heavy snowball at the top of a hill. At first, it takes effort. It's small, it's awkward, and it barely moves. But as you keep pushing, it starts rolling, picking up more snow, gathering speed, and before long, it's racing down the hill with unstoppable force. That's exactly how momentum works in your life. It takes those first few consistent efforts, sometimes tiring, sometimes discouraging, but the longer you keep going, the easier it becomes. Momentum multiplies your energy, amplifies your focus, and accelerates your progress far beyond what you thought possible. In the beginning, progress often feels painfully slow. You may find yourself doubting whether your efforts are making any difference at all. You're putting in time, but the finish line feels far away. This is where most people give up, right before the momentum begins to build. But if you can endure that phase, something remarkable happens. Suddenly, the things that once felt heavy and difficult start to feel lighter. Tasks that drained you before now seem manageable. Opportunities begin to open up. People notice your consistency, and doors that were once closed slowly begin to unlock. Momentum also has a unique way of carrying us to the darkest days. The days when you want to quit, when motivation is nowhere to be found, and when doubt whispers in your ear. In those moments, momentum is like a current that pulls you forward even when you don't have the strength to swim. That's because your consistent actions have created a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes a force of its own. You're no longer relying on raw willpower. You've built a habit, a flow, and that flow keeps you moving forward. This is when you begin to truly recognize how far you've come. Goals that once felt distant and intimidating suddenly appear closer, clearer, and attainable. Milestones that felt impossible are now within your reach because you've built enough momentum to carry you across the finish line. And the beauty of this is that once you experience the power of momentum, you'll know it's something you can recreate again and again in every new challenge you face. It becomes your silent ally, your secret advantage, and with it, almost nothing feels impossible. Every journey, no matter how long, begins with a single step, and every mile you travel, whether on a road, in your career, or in your personal growth, is made up of countless little steps taken minute by minute. Too often, we overestimate what we can do in a single day and underestimate what we can achieve in a year of consistent effort. The truth is, if you dedicate even small amounts of time consistently, those minutes will carry miles further than you ever thought possible. Think about walking or running. If you go out for just 10 minutes a day, it may not feel like much. But if you do that every day for a year, you'll have walked or run for more than 60 hours. That could mean hundreds of miles covered, miles that someone else never reached simply because they never started. This applies to every area of life. Learning a language, building a business, strengthening relationships, improving health, or mastering a skill. The miles come not from one big sprint, but from the daily commitment to move forward. When you look back months or years from now, you'll realize that the miles you've traveled were all born from minutes you chose to invest rather than waste. Every minute you used with intention became a brick in the path, carrying you farther and farther from where you started and closer to where you wanted to be. So when you hear from minutes and miles, think of it as a reminder that progress is not measured only in giant leaps, but in steady, faithful steps. Every minute matters. Every minute moves you forward. And if you keep stacking minutes with purpose, you'll look back one day and be amazed at the miles you've traveled and the milestones you've achieved. Now that we've talked about building momentum, let's talk about the importance of celebrating milestones. Milestones are the signposts that mark your progress along the way. They're the moments when you can stop and reflect on how far you've come. And yes, you should celebrate them. We often focus so much on the destination that we forget to appreciate the journey. But the truth is, it's those small victories, those little wins, that matter just as much as the big ones. When you hit a milestone, whether it's completing a chapter of a book, reaching a fitness goal, or landing a new client, take a moment to acknowledge your hard work. Celebrate how far you've come. Let's wrap this up by reminding you of something powerful. Every minute matters. Every minute you invest in your dreams is another step closer to the life you envision for yourself. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't think you need grand leaps to reach your goals. Success is built in the small moments. It's built by how you choose to use your minutes today. So, my friends, take this next minute and do something that will move you forward. That's how you create momentum. That's how you turn minutes into milestones. And remember, the distance between where you are now and where you want to be is just a collection of minutes strung together. Make each one count.